Hello, good evening, my dear YouTube viewers. Today also continue the village studies in India. Particularly, we focused on caste system, where the caste system is working the principle of purity and pollution. Now we want to continue the origin of caste. Later, the functional value we will discuss. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaisyas are allowed only to listen the or read the Vedas, not the other group. Even in the touchables, that is, Sudras are not allowed. We can think about the untouchables, they were totally excluded. But untouchables are not allowed, specifically the Vedas, scriptures or mantras. The Brahmins used to live in a separate area called Agraharam. Others are not entertained or entered. In case, particularly if they want to come, the untouchables, that is for a particular purpose, that is a cleaning purpose, under the name of scavengers. At an individual level, men should not grow or wield the mustache, and women are not allowed to wear the jacket. That is Misal Tippadam in Telugu version. Of course, the other language people, if they will listen, they may not understand. Twirling means twisting the mustache. So, the untouchables are not allowed before the touchables to twist their mustache, and the women should not wear the jackets. Within the four Varnas, again it was divided into two categories. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaisya were known for twice born group. The special title has given for these three groups, and Sudras are not come under this category, that is twice born category. Twice means two times for a particular individual. Twice born means secondary birth of a boy, that is wearing the thread. Janjam antam kada, wearing the thread by conducting the particular ceremony. For particularly it will be exercised by Brahmins and Kshatriyas. Promptly they should practice it, but Vaisyas are opposite to them. They never accept to practice it. First birth, we call it as biological birth. That is, when the woman produced a lump of muscle, that is the birth of a child, that is the biological birth. And the secondary birth, we call it as spiritual birth, or and also we can call it the boy or the baby wants to understand the societal norms. So, social birth, spiritual birth, and as well as the social birth, the secondary birth. This phenomenon we call it as Upanayana ceremony. Those who performed Upanayana are allowed only to chant the Gayatri Japam. Of course, nowadays many people, even untouchables also, Sudras also, women also, practicing to chant the Gayatri mantra. But earlier days, only for Brahman and Kshatriyas, that too after performance of the Upanayana ceremony, to allow to chant the Gayatri Japam. In the Pali text, that is Buddha's period, Jati means for caste, but it was not observed in Vedic literature. So Pali period is different and Vedic period is different. So in Vedic period, there was no Jati is equivalent to caste. Why? Because caste is a recently developed word. Only Jati was there. Yajnavalkya clearly pointed out the difference between the Jati and Varna. So earlier people we used to practice the Jati and Varna, but not the word of the caste. So the Yajnavalkya pointed out the Jati and Varna. Sometimes both words are used as synonymous, that is the more or less same meaning. Manu used the word Varna for mixed caste. So we know very well about the Manudharma Shastra. He never used for the single caste or the single Varna the particular word. So he used the word mixed caste is equal to Varna. So Varna means not the single caste, it is a combination of two or more. So here how it formed? Mixed caste means how it formed? The combination of with lower caste people married the higher caste people married the lower caste. That is hypergamy and hypogamy. In Sanskrit word anuloma and pratiloma. If the parents belongs to different caste, that is if they formed the caste, now we are understanding, we are using the caste word, but it is only varna, known as golaka. If the two types of castes are the varnas married to each other, belongs to one varna, we can call them as golaka. If any child belongs to the higher caste, they should claim it after 5 or 6 generation. If it is the hypergamy, hyper means higher strata, boy wants to marry the lower based strata girl, at that time the child, the combination of higher and lower strata people family life, when the child was born, he or she should not claim their father's name. Why? How many years? For 5 to 6 generations. Because it is a mixed combination, not the single varna or the single caste. If the both parents belongs to the jati, if the Brahmins were marrying the same Brahmins, no problem. If the Brahmins marrying the Vaisya or Sudra or untouchable, then the problems will be arised. If they married within their own group people, then the children can claim the father's jati. That too, we can claim them father's caste. Why? Because in those period, patriarchal society was survived. Patriarchal means male dominated society. If it is the boy and girl from the two different caste, the child should not claim 5 to 6 generation, either the father caste or the mother caste also. In case if mother is from the different, not same jati, at that time we have given the name by jati, that is the another one. Then the children should not claim either father or the mother's jati, as they were called as. If the woman is baigati, baijati, that is a different jati, their husband and the wife, if they are living together, that family we can call it as apsad. In this way, different jatis were established. When the Brahman married Vaisya, one type of apsad. If the Brahman married Kshatriya, another type of apsad. If Brahman marries Sudra, another type. In this way, different caste systems were established. This is one type of theory. In this way, different jatis were established. We can use the word jati and varna synonymously. Then another word, niyoga. Here it is just to begot a children. We want to enjoy the biological life. Now, if you cross-check with the contemporary scenario, number of celebrities, that is known facts. They are going for the surrogacy, womb for rent. So, it may not be in the refined form. Earlier also, if they want to have the child, they should not utter the man's name. That is the counterpart male member name. Just to have the children or purpose-based union, they will make. Man and woman unite so that they claim only mother's jati rather than the father's jati. Why? Because she is the only woman to produce a child. So womb is necessary, because from that womb she came, so the child can claim the mother's family name or mother's jati. Many Brahmins thought that they were descended from only intellectual prowess of the god. Prowess means sauryamu, that valor, baga bala parakram kaliginatuvanti vallu. The Brahmins are thinking we were got that knowledge or intelligence because of God's prowess. Mem aa combination tho unnamani. This way, this what we call it Manasaputra. Manasaputra, already to have the minimum blind example is that that the Kunti got the so many children, that 5 plus 1, first one is the Karna. All these people, just she fell in love in a nature. Nature lo anukodam valna she begot a child. So, Manasaputra, just a psychological impression if we have married that person, if we have the son like the sun, at that time we will get the child. So, and other forms of children, newborn children were biological body. General production is biological body. Without the biological system, with the psychological impression, if you provide it, we can call it as Manasaputra. New Some Brahmins said they were born from seer or the sage, అంటే మునులు ఆర్ సన్యాసులు. సో claimed we belongs to so and so Rishi was most powerful, so that's why we are also more powerful. In such a sense, they are using their Rishi or the saint or the seer name as their gotras. Gotra means, this word is used in temple when we want to do any prayer. The pandit used to ask them, in which gotra you belong, please tell me. Under that name we will do the prayer. So some Brahmins said they were born from seer or the sage whose name was treated by their name, that is their gotra. Today, once again we will recap. Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaisyas are allowed to listen and also read the Vedic scriptures. Even in the touchables, Sudras are not allowed. Then you think about the untouchables, they were totally excluded. The Brahmins used to live in a separate area called as Agraharam. That earlier days, the kings used to give them a purified community for their chanting or for their mayanta yagna, something like that. That's what that, in that sense, they were lived in a separate place, what we call it as Agraharam. In case if untouchables are the polluted people entered in that Agraharam, means there is a specific purpose, that is for the cleaning purpose, that under the name of the scavengers. At an individual level, man should not grow and twirls the mustache, and women are not allowed to wear the jacket. Half naked body like that, the women should be there if they belong to the polluted community or the caste. So for the man should not twist their mustache before the higher caste people. Within the four varnas, against it was divided into two categories depending upon their performances of the prayers towards the god. What are those? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisyas were treated, they were belong to the twice born community or category. So secondary birth word was used. Twice born means secondary birth for a boy, that is wearing the thread across the left to the right side, some threads, 9 rows of threads they used to wear it. At temples there was specifically one festival is also there, Janjala Paurnami. For that purpose only they arranged that one. Wearing thread by conducting the particular ceremony that is meant for Brahmins and Kshatriya. Even though it was allowed for the Vaisyas, but they do not want to perform. They were opposite to this type of secondary birth. First birth we call it as biological birth, where the baby lump of muscle is coming out from the body of the woman womb. We can call it as the first biological birth. Second birth means the after spiritual purification we will come under the secondary birth. So, and the secondary birth we call it as spiritual birth or social birth. This phenomenon we call it as Upanayana. There are number of ceremonies in the life cycle of the human being. This is also fourth or the fifth category in a sequential order. That is Upanayana ceremony. Those who performed the Upanayana are allowed to chant the Gayatri Japam. All people nowadays are chanting the Gayatri Japam, that is Om Bhurbhuva Soha. But earlier days it is confined, limited. Those who will come under the twice born community, after performance of the Upanayana ceremony only, they used to practice the chant the Gayatri Japam. In the Pali text, Jati means caste. That is in Pali period, The jati is more or less equivalent to the caste, but it was not observed in the Vedic literature. No such caste word was observed in the Vedic period. It was recently brought it from the Portuguese. How we can say that it was present in the Vedic period? Vedic period only jati or varna it may be. The Yajnavalkya, there is another seer or the sage, clearly pointed out difference between the jati and varna. Yajnavalkya person, a seer, ante muni, he showed the discrimination between jatis and varnas. Sometimes both words are overlapped or give the same synonym meaning. But it is criticized by Mr. Manu. Manu used the word varna means a mixed caste, a mixed group of people. How the people will be mixed group? When it was divided the touchables and untouchables, even in touchables we should marry within their own subgroups. Brahman should marry Brahman, Kshatriya should marry Kshatriya. But sometimes out of romantic love, they may fall in love and they can marry. Higher caste people marry the lower caste people marry the higher caste. Particularly people means male member we should always claim. That's why in Sanskrit one anuloma and pratiloma, hypergamy and hypogamy. If the parents belongs to different caste, known as golaka, that is gola means it is a mixed combination like that. The Sanskrit word they used it. If any child belongs to the higher caste, they should claim it after 5 to 6 generation. In case the child is a combination of two different communities of the parents, at that time the child is not allowed by the community to claim either the father name or the mother's name. In case if both parents belongs to the same community, same jati, there is no problem. The child can claim the father's name. Why? Because same jati's name. Why? Because we are patriarchal society, male dominated society, no discrimination. Marriage is within their own group, endogamous group, that it will be allowed. The children claim their father's surname or the father's lineage. In case if the mother is from the different, we can claim it as, we can use the another word by jati. So jati is pure. By means it is a combination of 2 or 3 something like that. But generally we use the by stands for the 2. Then children should not claim either father's name or the mother's jati. So they were called the apsad, APASAD, apsad. In this way, different jatis were established. This is a very clue point. If the parents are from the different communities, the children should not claim either father and mother. Then they will be called as the Golaka, and the mother is a combination of 2 parents, different communities. So in such a way, we are getting the different groups. Groups are nothing but the different varnas, different jatis. Finally, in our contemporary scenario, different caste. And another word, niyoga, just to have the children, particularly for the sake of the children, the woman can have the family life with the man. Whatever the caste, whatever the varna jati may be, after begetting the child, they should not utter either the man's jati or the woman's jati. Particularly man's jati, that is the counterpart consort name, should not be uttered at anywhere. But generally, many Brahmins thought they were descended, that is they came from, but they are very intelligent people. They came from the prowess of the god. Prowess is not the valor. Valor means sauryamu, baga balaparakramu unnatvanti the god. From their combination we got the children. That's why we are so intelligent. In such a type of phenomenon, we can call it as Manasaputra. By mistake, Kunti had fell in love with, after watching or observation of the sun. Psychologically, she was impressed that immediately she begot a child, that is Karna. Just for the example I am telling, Manasaputra. And such a way in those days it was there, because sun was a god. We should not call them god, demigod, devata. Devatalu annatlam annamata. So some Brahmins said they were born seer are the sages. How we can say they were born the sage and the sages? Because while they were enter into the temple, if they want to perform their prayers, the Pandit will ask them which Gotra you belongs. There are 7 Gotras, 7 Rishis are more powerful. So these Brahmins are complaining, we belongs to Kasyapa Gotra, Bharadwaja Gotra or some other Gotra, they are claiming. So their intelligence is through their Rishis or the sage or the seers. In such a way, they are climbing. By this today, I am going to close it. And also, if possible, after festival only, I would like to continue. Moreover, my eyes is not doing well. Okay. By this today's lecture is completed. This is Bindu taking leave from the YouTube platform. If possible, do subscribe. Good day and good night.